So this is a piece I got, God, got to be over 25 years ago. I've been looking for it forever, and it just popped up one year in San Diego. Back when San Diego was still cool. And, you know, you had talked about before about pieces that you remember from when you were a kid. This falls into both categories. It's a piece I remember when I was a kid that I loved, and it's by Neal Adams, who's an incredible artist. So there you go. Kill two birds with one stone. It's a teaser for the Dead Man series. I've had it ever since. So this is an incredible twice up Steve Ditko pinup from Spider-Man Annual number 2 of probably one of my favorite Spider-Man villain characters is Princess Python. There's not a lot of Ditko art out there to begin with, so especially Marvel stuff, because he only did 38 issues of Spider-Man. I got it from a collector back in the day, and I ended up getting 2 other pieces, which I've since traded. I had the Crime Master and the Beetle also. At one time, I guess they had all of the pinups from Spider-Man Annual 2. They're all out there now. It is what it is. All right, so this is a piece I got from Jack back in the day. I kept trying to get him to sell it and finally I think he wanted some money to do something for the kids, and he told me he finally would sell it. I had to pay a lot for it. I remember seeing this in a comic. You know, I bought comics later, you know, not when they came out, of course. And I remember this image because it's still when the Hulk looks like a monster. I don't like the later Hulk, you know, toned down version. I like this original Jack version where he still looks like a monster. Do you know what I mean? Like his head is almost Frankenstein looking. It's really cool. And the inks are by Saul Brodsky. So it's just one of my favorite Kirby inkers. So this is another one of my favorite artists, very famous. When I was a kid, I never thought this artwork even still existed. And then to see it bigger than twice up, and maybe about 10 years ago, some of these pieces became available. And I got some of my favorite ones. This is Pure Hell by Big Daddy Roth. You can see the date is 1965. Really underrated. If you remember Rat Fink and all that stuff, I mean, this is a guy who mixed crazy monsters and monster cars. This is great. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved Big Daddy Roth stuff. I had all the model kits. I had pretty much, I didn't have the regular car ones. I only got like the Weirdos ones and the Big Daddy Roth, you know, ones. I actually have a piece by Mouse and Roth. Actually, the Peterson Museum did a big exhibit of all the Big Daddy Roth art. Look at that. That's insane. Yeah, so this is a Lucifera cover by probably the premier Lucifera cover artist, Ciriello, Alvarado Ciriello. It's one of my favorite paintings. It's incredible. And for people who don't know, you know, Italian comics are called fumetti. It's a character. This is probably a later issue. It's a very famous character over there. I know Leon Frollo originally, which is another name probably American collectors know. Leon Frollo started and designed the character and then gave it to his studio to do. And then another studio came in and started doing the interior art. And Ciriello did the later covers, probably starting at issue 40 or so. Before that was Studio Rossi and some of the other studios over there. People don't part with these Ciriello covers. It's really hard to get them. What happened was I started dealing with somebody. I bought some stuff from eBay, and then they would send me lists of their stuff, and this was never on eBay. It was actually, the guy said, I have 2 Ciriello covers. Were you interested? And one of them was crap, and Lucifer wasn't on it. And this one, which is insane, was there, and I was like, I'll take that one. How much is it? Got those right from Frank and Ellie, and I had to work on them because they didn't want to sell them. They weren't cheap. It's wash and pen and ink. It's pretty much, I don't even know if there is any pen on there, maybe on the fingers. Frank you know, you could see Frank doing it sometimes. He just like really meticulous. Like some people just like, you know, you see him and with the paintbrush and just, it's just insane. If you close in on this detail, it is insane. So I had to work on the Frazettas. Ellie is, as everyone knows, you know, who would buy stuff from Ellie. She was a tough negotiator. But, you know, she knew how talented Frank was. I didn't have a problem with it. They were always both really nice, you know, people, really nice to me. I just wanted to buy them both. And at the time, you know, I was working with them a lot and getting a lot of stuff from them too. And it just worked out that I was able to, you know, come up with the money to get these. Look at the blending and shading. It's just insane. It's just, especially for the time period, who was doing stuff like this during this time period? It's just crazy. It just, when you look at it, it still holds up today. It's just like, look at the faces. There's nobody drew girls' faces like Frank, or their bodies, but the faces especially. If anything looks like a cat girl, you know, it's a true artist. I think one of the things a lot of people liked about Frank was how sensuous his women were. I think Frank really understood the female form that a lot of people don't really understand, but it's like every detail, like the flip of the hair, and you know what I mean, the wrists and the fingers. It all adds to the final, you know, illustration. All right, so this is of course another one of my favorite artists, and I'm lucky enough to work with him on record covers and at Verotic. Is Joe Chito. Incredible. This is oils, by the way. For the Lost Tracks Danzig album, we wanted to emulate one of those 60s, you know, men's adventure, Men Today magazines, you know, where the women are being tortured. And here we have a girl getting ready to brand an unsuspecting girl or a willing girl with the, you know, with the Danzig skull. So here it is without all the type and, you know, the logo or whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you can see these girls actually have the brand already on them. They've been branded already and they're gonna brand her. It's a typical, like, those covers were great because it was just always like a girl being tortured by Nazis. And then when that grew old or was out of fashion, they would use, you know, Castro and the Cubans or the Japanese, or then it was the Russians in the Cold War. And then when that was out of fashion, it was like hippie bikers. Then when Manson got arrested, you know, in the Tate LaBianca murders, it became satanic hippie bikers. And a lot of those covers, I would love to have some of those, but they're just so hard to find. So that's our homage to those.